What's going on, family? It's the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic.com. Ending out the week strong. The title of this video is Repression, which is, I think, an important conversation. Something to kind of ponder as we go out through this weekend and try to process this week energetically. I'm sure we all dealt with particular shifts and particular changes. And what does it all mean? Like, what does it all represent? Today, I want to talk about some astrology, and I also want to talk about some psychology, and just want to thank everybody who's joining me early this morning on this live to talk about this, because, you know, before this helps anybody, this really helps me process, you know, the things that's going on in my life. And so if we're able to connect on this level, on the psychological level, on the astrological level, I feel like it's always good. So today is Friday, and the focus of this day will be on Venus, but particularly an aspect involving Venus. That aspect involving Venus is what they would call a minor grand trine. Now, we can see a big grand trine with Mercury, Chiron, and the North Node, but a minor grand trine is what we would see with Neptune, Venus, and Saturn. And so a minor grand trine represents communication and self-expression, and we use the trine and the two sextiles to explain something, and usually there are two elements involved. This minor grand trine has two elements that's involved, and those elements are water and earth. And so we don't just stay there in esoteric astrology. Water means our emotional field, earth is our physical life. And so this is something that we've kind of been teaching on or speaking on all year, and it is the concept of glamour, or the concept of what constitutes a physical life. Like, what is the physical life? What is the matrix? What is the illusion? And it's generally the things that we put emotions towards. When we put emotions towards physical things, that creates glamour. Without the emotions, it's just physical lives, but the ideas that we create around it gives us a particular field. And so this minor grand trine really got me to like use my mind and really like try to do some research and try to figure some things out, because what it was actually speaking to was the idea of cognition, or the idea of emotional cognition. And so before I get all psychological or all like, you know, medical in my terms, in basic terms, is when you do stupid shit. Is when you do crazy stuff that you normally wouldn't do. Is when you in situations you normally wouldn't find yourself in. Is because you're not really regulating your emotions, and you're exaggerating or you're amplifying an expression towards something that you could easily take some steps back. It's not really ever that serious. We can always get through things if we just calm down and level out our emotional field. And so synonyms that deal with cognition, perception, discernment, apprehension, learning, understanding, insight, you know, things that you gotta kind of sit down and actually think and actually process, where our lives, it's easy to be emotional about it, especially this week, right? Things happen. A lot of things possibly could have been worse, you know, a lot of shifts and a lot of changes and a lot of people acting crazy or whatever the case may be. But we can always take a step back, and we can relax and process it. Whatever happened is not the end of the world. We can always move past it, move forward. And so let's just look at, you know, each astrological point and bring light to each astrological point and kind of show and speak to how it speaks to repression and how we can get out of that repression. Because my wife, this morning, we've been up since about like 2:30, and right before we went on this live, she pulled a card, and we were talking about the card, and the card she pulled was the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups speaks to abundance, and the Three of Cups is dealing with Pisces energy, and abundance, right? Naturally, our mind would go to a lot of money or a lot of physical things, like I'm an abundant person, but that's not necessarily what abundance is. Abundance just means a lot of, or an exorbitant amount of. And so depending on what vibration we're dealing with, we could be bringing on a lot of energy that, you know, might be negative, might not be the thing that's serving us the best, but we dealing with an abundant amount of energy. Now, I'm not saying that we have to be dealing in the negativity sphere of abundance. I'm saying be mindful though when you're dealing with the energy of abundance, because if you have fear, if you have anxiety, if you have repression, then, or suppression or depression, then you're dealing with an abundance of it. So let's try to switch the frequency into something more positive, something more enlightening, something that's more, you know, gratifying, and deal with the abundance of that moving forward, especially dealing with the energy of this weekend. And so the first aspect that I want to talk about, since Moon is conjunct Neptune, is willpower. And willpower is great, but the dark side of willpower is we'll do it later. We'll do it in a couple of months. We'll do it when I get my money right. We'll do it when I graduate. We'll do it when I find a better job. We'll do it when I find a partner. We'll do it later. So the thing of doing things now, doing things with this energy, carrying on with the energy of abundance, is that when you decide to take action steps, when you decide to do things outside of the norm, outside of your regular things, you'll notice that things will really open up to you. Because you're not just living out your own personal, being the next mogul, the next CEO, or the next, fashion designer or anything like that. Not knocking any of that, but what I am saying is that the things that you are living out is lifetimes in the making. So the little extraneous doorways that you thought wasn't gonna open for you are now open, but you wouldn't necessarily know because you haven't jiggled the keys or, played with the doorknob at all. Pause. You wouldn't know that the doorways is open because you haven't walked through them. And so this is the difference between willpower and we'll do it later. And this is Neptune at the 13th degree conjunct the moon. And this is just one side of our base of the minor grand trine. The other side of our base, the other side of our emotional frequency is that of Venus in the 7th degree of Scorpio. And it's very simple. Will you explore your depths? Because remember what I said earlier, it's not just a simple subjective goal. Okay, you got your GED. Congratulations. Your life is not over. You got more things that you possibly could do. Okay, you got your associates. Congratulations. There's more education that you could have. You might want to take that education and utilize it to something that can benefit you and your family. There's a whole slew of things that you can continuously do, constantly evolving and constantly elevating yourself. So never will you be at a spot where you okay, everything is Gucci. I don't need to read no more books. I don't need to explore myself. And that's the thing about conscious people, though. You have a couple dreams, you read a couple books, and now can't nobody tell you shit. You can't learn nothing new. It ain't no purpose to nothing. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have no emotions. You just perfectly fine living in your studio apartment with no furniture in a cardboard box in a lotus position. I don't want to live like that, so therefore, it's constantly more that I could explore. It's constantly different places that I could kind of travel to or see and experience and things of that nature. Different people I can meet that would connect to different parts of me that maybe I don't even know about yet. Maybe there's parts of me that I don't even fucking know about that is going to take a chance encounter with a stranger somewhere in Budapest that I decided to go one day, and now I figured out my soul's purpose. It's the illusion that you know exactly what it is that you need to be doing with your life, and the illusion that you're not doing it when that may not even be your purpose. You may be exactly where you need to be right now, and this is Venus in the 7th degree of Scorpio trine Neptune. Whenever we have a Neptune trine, whenever planets are aspected Neptune, pay attention. Because the veil gets very thin. It's very in your dreams, they'll tell you exactly what you need to do. That's why I said in the last video, and I'm going to say it again, whether it be on Snapchat, Instagram, just shoot me a message. Hey, I'm not really dreaming. And then I'll tell you what you need to invest in. And then hit me back like that's not working or that is working, good looking. Because the fact that black people or just people in general need to start dreaming again is very important. And whatever steps that you need to take to begin to dream again is very important. It's Neptune energy. So, the final point that I want to discuss, kind of the main focal point of this minor grand trine, is Saturn at the 9th degree of Capricorn. Saturn been at the ninth degree of Capricorn, it seemed like, for the past 50 years. But maybe it's been like that for like the past month or so, who give or take. But Saturn at the ninth degree of Capricorn is really finding a purpose of any situation. So like I said, the base is emotional. The base is realizing, okay, emotionally, I'm not on my personal status or my personal goals. Like, a majority of my day, people just know me as a computer analyst. Nothing more, nothing less. Like, you know, a register is down in the store. Can you remote into that store and fix that register, Kyrie? Sure. Let me look into it. You know, thank you, Kyrie. Have a good day. Like, you know, and I'm perfectly fine like that. I'm trying to get my foot in the door. I'm doing my 6 months initiation, whatever, enjoying myself. But say, for instance, I felt like, you know, being an astrologer or being like a psychic or whatever claim to fame that YouTube offers was all that I ever could be in life. Then I would feel some type of way and kind of be ashamed somewhat of, like, you know, oh, I have to go to work, or I have to, you know, do other shit. But I'm not caught up in my ego. This is just me and my regular conversation. Like, you could call me you could call me right after this live and we could still have this conversation. It's just, I realized that, you know, it's a different conversation for for normal people. So that's why I kind of do a YouTube channel, because I feel like it's different. But other than that, this is just my normal way of thinking, and I just try to explain how I just normally think, how I just normally look at the world. And maybe it makes sense to you, maybe it don't. But the idea here is, wherever you're at, it don't really matter. How you feel about it is what truly matters. And if you feel a certain type of way about where you're at based upon emotions and cognition, you'll make stupid choices. You'll do the wrong thing because you're negatively affected. So therefore, let's take 10 steps back. All my conscious hotep folk out there who hate their daddy, who hate their mama, who hate their upbringing, who hate their relationship, who hate the government, who hate the white man, who hate the Ku Klux Klan, who hate racism, who hate Jim Crow, who hate, you know, whitewashing of black artifacts throughout history, who hate slavery, who hate everything in life, right? Just hate shit. You can't say that. You hate when people make money. You hate when people have a job. You hate when people own a business. You hate when people panhandle. It's like, you hate when people eat. Can't even eat chicken no more. You gotta be a vegetarian. And where'd you getting your vegan from? That ain't really vegan food. That's GMO. That ain't real vegetables. So I can't even eat with you conscious niggas. I can't conversate with you because I done said too many cuss words. Okay? And we still taking steps back, because if you know, like I know, if you know conscious people like I know, they'll tell you 100 things that they don't like before they tell you one thing that they do like. Well, what do you like besides ankhs and kente cloth? Do you like to dance? Do you like music? Do you like sound? So I say all of that to say, when it comes to manifesting and it comes to building or it comes to attracting, you're not even enjoying nothing. You don't even like anything. So it's like your emotional field is already set. Your physical life is already set. You might as well, you know, close the book and, you know, continuously hate the world, because that's what the energy wants you to do, obviously. Because, you know, they'll show a video on Facebook of, you know, somebody doing something But if you post a video on there, you know, you might say the wrong word and they'll just block you for 60 days. But if it's something that they want to get across to mind control you, like, you know, just an example, a police shooting, they won't block that. They'll just show that to everywhere. Everybody can see this, you know. So, you know, very purposefully to get you in a space where your emotions are always negatively triggered. And an example of this, like, especially women, like, if you ever use like your girl's phone, it's a completely different phone. Like the way that it's advertised and the way that, you know, your emotions is played upon, where y'all supposed to feel certain types of ways for certain shit, even if you don't want to feel that way. Like, you could say, I want to have a good day, I want to feel good today, but if you being psychologically programmed to feel a certain type of way, then it's nothing that you're gonna really manifest that you really want, being in a relationship with somebody that you don't like, or living in a world that you hate. So many people don't even want to go outside because they don't even like it. They don't even like themselves to be seen by other people. But yet and still, they can prophesize with you and proselytize with you on the highest level or all the esoteric sciences known to man, and speak all the jargon. But how do you feel though? Man, I'm mad. I'm pissed the fuck off. Well, all right. See, the thing of it is, I didn't really understand shit until I balanced out my emotions. And I just want to point to this one more time. Emotional Regulation, Emotional Intelligence by Donald Goleman. Very important mind altering books to get you in a space that, of course, you look good, of course you're hotepping and asheing and grand rising and growing out your locks and rubbing shea butter on your body consistently daily, and now you got the smooth cocoa butter skin popping. But when something happens, when something triggers you, you still that same old depressed little boy, or that same old depressed little boy who couldn't cut it in high school. And so understanding consciousness and understanding development and understanding Saturn is always pushing you to do the right thing. The image that I have for today, the graphic today, is an image of Shani. And this Shani is the Hindu vision, the Hindu version of Saturn. And Shani, it's interesting that he's sitting on a raven, and I've been being stalked by ravens. Like, I've been seeing like slews of ravens, and all my friends, they mention ravens in some form or way. And so, you know, this triggered me to kind of do more research or just use this image and just kind of like bring light to this as we move into Saturn's day, which is tomorrow. Just the idea that, you know, Saturn is always there to push you to do the right thing. I still got a little time. I just want to tell a quick story. It'd be about like 3 minutes. I was telling my friend this, well, not my friend, I was telling my cousin the other day, he was going through his Saturn return or whatever, and he was going through like some stuff or whatever, not as bad as he may think, but Saturn returns are tough. And I was explaining to him my Saturn return. My Saturn return, I was actually I wouldn't necessarily say it was a Saturn return, but it was like a Saturn force, because it was before my Saturn return. But the force that got me together, the kind of like before this person entered my life, I was a mess. Like, I'm still a mess, but I was really a mess, like for real, like a mess, like, and I could not get it together no matter what, because I didn't never have structure or discipline in my life. I was raised by my mom, and my mom couldn't control me past a certain age, so I just did what I wanted to do. I did what I wanted to do all the way up into prison. And then even in prison, I was going to the whole, I couldn't process being a man yet. But it was this racist corrections officer, and his name was Franklin. And in retrospect, he really helped me. But when it was happening, I hated him. Like every fiber in my being just could not stand this dude who would make me make my bed, who would make me tuck in my shirt, who would make me kind of carry myself with dignity and pride. We total opposites of the spectrum. Man, you could look at this dude and see the racism on him. His beard was like, it was a color I've never seen. I think it was like racism orange. It was just some crazy shit. But that's besides the point, because that's exactly what my ass needed, because couldn't nobody tell me anything. And I for sure was on a path to death, early death, because I just could not figure out that discipline piece. And he wouldn't put me in the hole where a lot of correction officers, I'd be just, flipping them off, or, you can't really tell me shit. Okay, we'll put you in the hole. He wouldn't put me in the hole. He'll just do racist shit. I can't even explain the type of stuff that he used to do that just put you in a space that it just created hate within my being. But now, looking back, maybe 15, 16 years removed, that's exactly what I needed. And that's just my story. And that's just how Saturn really showed up for me. It's like pushing me to do the right thing, and you might hate it. You might hate the whole process. You might not. Saturn probably represents the person that you can't stand the most, making you do the thing that you would hate to do, and having to be in that space and living through it. And it's not ever as bad as it seems if you are going through something. If you do find yourself in the 27 to 30-year-old range, don't be so hard on yourself, especially going into this weekend. Like, I'm not that far removed from that space where when it comes to purifying negativity and that stuff having to get out of your being, let it rise out of your being. Don't let it stay in your being. Don't act like it's not happening. Don't repress stuff. Don't suppress stuff. Let it be. Let it happen. And that's just my advice, A lot of times people are generally afraid of that truth and afraid of that change. And no matter what you can say to a person, it's just like, well, I lost what I wanted, though. And it's like, you'll get so much more looking forward. Nothing is for certain. Nothing you can take with you. So, a lot of it, especially expressing the day and the day's energy, is freedom. Freedom and perception. If you can perceive the freedom and the release that's being bestowed upon you and the change that's being bestowed upon you, then hooray. But if you kind of like salty, then you got to deal with the abundance of getting over it and things of that nature. The card of the day is the Two of Dis, which rules the deacon, where Saturn is at the first deacon of Capricorn. And the title of this card in the Thoth Tarot deck is Change. Change is so normal, and change is so of a good thing that it's surprising that when change happens, how sad people get and how out of sorts people get. But you know, that's why we're here. That's why I kind of do the work that I do, because generally I stay the same throughout it all, throughout the different transits and changes and energies. I try to be that calming daily steady force. But you know, moving into this weekend, moving into this energy, peace to everybody on the live, peace to everybody who may watch this video in the future. Just want to thank you all for, you know, riding with me this year as we move into 2019, as we move into the eclipse season. You know, let all of this negativity rise up out of you. Don't be emotionally repressed. Allow freedom to bestow you and be free. You know, celebrate the day, enjoy the day. This is your day. You know, nothing really is promised, so you know there is really nothing stopping you from enjoying this day, other than your repression, other than you shutting down your emotions. You know, when you shut down your emotions, it shows up in your life in other ways. And the pains and the aches and the things that are going on, you know, can really be found. The healing can really be found in self-expression. The healing can really be found in communication. So many times, you know, I've healed people, or I've aided people in their healing through the form of communication, through the form of self-expression, through the form of creating this identity that I emotionally feel is my calling and what I'm here to do. Now, if I wasn't able to be this, if I was gonna just be like, you know, you're a lowlife, or you're a felon, or you ain't never gonna be shit, and you know, all of that, I never would be who I am and able to communicate and self-express the way that I do. And even more so, there's more discovery left for me going into this weekend. You know, that's my goal going into this weekend. What more can I discover about myself? What false beliefs do I have for myself that I hold on to, that I need to let go of? Because there's more to me. There's more to you. There's more to us. And the key to, you know, understanding repression is understanding that you are not at the end of the road. You're just beginning. No, that's, you know, hard to believe, but you know, your spiritual awakening is just beginning, and the things that aren't serving you are being carefully and nicely removed. So be grateful, enjoy yourself. You know, hit me up on the email www.hoodmystic.com or hoodmystic@gmail.com for readings, the website, to schedule a reading link. What a week, you know, as far as information, you know, is concerned. I feel like this was probably one of my strongest weeks with production and putting out information, and you know, so I always talk about my releasing from prison, and I always, like, this story is so real to me, because I was like, and it applies to what I'm about to say. It's like I was working and so much of at a peace that even though I had a lengthy sentence, it did not bother me. So I got released from prison like super early with no work, no nothing, just, all right, you can go. because it's not emotionally affecting you anymore. Like, it's not, you're not, we could put somebody else in your spot that we can drive crazy here. You having too much peace in this prison. You need to go. And so this week, I've been really focused on delivering and making sure that I was well prepared for each live. You know, I always try to be prepared, but, you know, I always could be a little better. And, you know, earlier in the summer when I started, the reason why I started doing the daily energy readings was based upon the fact that I wasn't a YouTube partner. Like, I had the subscribership, I had met all the criteria, but they decided not to give me a YouTube partner. So I was just like, I was angry. And so I used that anger and funneled it into these daily energy readings. And, you know, lo and behold, this week I just got an email saying that I was a YouTube partner. And so thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? This is not like really, it don't got really shit to do with me, because I could just be another nigga in here jibber jabbering on YouTube. But people really fuck with me, and they was like, you know, you're gonna receive a huge decrease because we're clearing the spam out of your subscriber list. And my subscribership grew. You know, I take pride in never paying for subscribers or nothing. Everybody on their own recognizance, on their own accord, subscribed, and they could have unsubscribed, but, you know, they kept rocking with me. So, you know, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the growth, and y'all belief in me and y'all support in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, you understand? Like, it's something to be, you know, happy about moving forward. And just to know that 2019 is gonna be crazy. Like, we're about to blow this shit up out the water, you know what I'm saying? And this consciousness is gonna be reached to another level, and we're gonna do things consciously that nobody has ever done. So, you know, and it's us though, you know what I'm saying? Don't got nothing to do with me. It's always been us from day one. So, you know, soul tribe, soul family, let's do this, let's grow. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you once again. Peace out.